The Royal Motor Yacht Club Port Hacking is a hidden gem of the Shire, situated on the banks of the beautiful Port Hacking. It's a great place to catch up with friends, celebrate your birthday or any special occasion, and they always show the NRL live on the big screens. The RMYC Port Hacking, proud sponsors of this podcast and big supporters of the Cronulla Sharks. Check out their website, rmycph.com.au. They've got a Facebook page, or you could go old school and call them on 02 9523 9300.
SharkCast! SharkCast! Fafita tries to crash his way over, he does! Fafita got the ball over the line!
And to all you people back in the Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.
Hey there, welcome to SharkCast, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This short, sharp episode is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. My name is Sam Shanazi. I'm an OG from 2015, supporting the team for a lot longer. 11 seasons of podcasting, having a great time doing it. Thanks to everyone who has been so supportive throughout the years. Whether you're an OG, whether you're new, or somewhere in between, completely appreciate you being a part of it all. If you could keep sharing, liking, and telling everyone about SharkCast Pod, we would all really appreciate it. If you're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, give us a follow, subscribe for free. And if you're on the social medias, give us a follow there and share our work around. That would be awesome. Appreciate everyone who's been doing it. Would love for more to do so as well. The Gold Coast Titans are coming to town, and they will be here 12:45 p.m. for the NRLW and 3 o'clock for the NRL, a Saturday game. So put that in your diaries in case you're heading down on Sunday for some reason. It's Saturday. It's crept up on us, and we are almost 24 hours away from game time from the NRL, which is really exciting. Not many games left in the season before the finals, and we need to win this game, but also be a great experience just to see the team and club in the flesh, because we've only got a few games left at home, and we'll get some more of that maybe in this episode or another episode. The whole hoopla about finals, but I want to say thanks to everyone who's been listening to the shows this week especially, and we had a lot of reaction to our flagship show with Josh Bolling, where he and I dissected a media piece about the Sharks Stadium earlier in the week, called it a bit of a hit job, and I reacted to that on behalf of myself and my feelings only, and I think it represents some of the club and I think some of the fan base, but certainly some of the fan base has been in touch saying they agree with a lot of what the journalist said, and I also stated on the podcast I agree with a lot of what the journalist said, but I really took offense at the tone and the style. And whenever someone has that bullying style of talking about the club, I'm probably going to react. I hope I'm going to react, because that's the reason why we started this podcast in 2015, coming off the back of the horror that was 2014 and the 4 or 5 years build up of just horrific press and quite biased and quite unfair. That's why we started the pod. So I had to react to that. We move on. I was down at Shark Stadium this morning for Craig Fitzgibbon's presser, and it was overcast. There are a few puddles around, but the stadium's looking pretty good, and they are ready for you to rock the stadium on Saturday afternoon, should you be there. We will play the Craig Fitzgibbon press conference in full. There's some really interesting parts to it, particularly where he addresses some criticism from his former teammate, Braithen Astor, who now works at Fox Sports. So you might find that interesting. Generally, he's quizzed about where the team's at, and I thought he handled the press conference pretty well. I thought he was pretty honest as usual, but you can make up your own mind on what you think about the coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, who is very topical at the moment, given the fact that we are probably not where we want to be, and we have dropped some games that we shouldn't have dropped. We do have a little bit of mail to get through, at least a few pieces that have crept in, so I'd like to address those. First one is from Steve. Steve said, I think Fitz should look at the Bulldogs, and if they aren't happy with a player performance, they aren't scared of dropping them. I think we need to be more ruthless, because let's face it, Nico and Tricky and all the backs will never get dropped. Love to hear your thoughts around this. Thanks, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for being in touch. Thanks for your continued support. So the Bulldogs and Cam Seraldo with Gus Gould in the background, they've been pretty ruthless this year. You know, they know what they want. They know what they don't want. They've had the luxury of players there to bring in. I mean, if you look at, is it Hayward? He's a fantastic player, probably in as good, if not better form than Reid Marnie, and he'll be starting this week instead of Reid Marnie. Lockie Galvin, who's obviously young and raw, but immense talent at the same time. And you could say that he brings in a lot of different attributes that the former halfback, Toby Sexton, doesn't quite have. They're quite different players, and it's what style of football do you want to play? So they know what they want. It's been, I think, mixed success for them, but obviously they're higher up than us and doing slightly better than us. So something is working for them that isn't working for us. I think, Steve, it just comes down to who are you going to bring in to replace the people you're talking about. And Sam Stonestreet on the wing, who you could bring in. And a lot of the fan base wants that, and I can see that myself. And I have been more about sticking with Katoa, but based on last weekend, if he has another one of those games, that's out the window. So there's a Stonestreet to bring in. As far as centres go, we have a bunch of centres, but they're pretty young and pretty raw and pretty green themselves. But I think someone like Michael Gabriel in particular could be the guy. But it's just a matter of when you release them into the NRL first grade week-on-week situations. As far as the halves go, next in line, you could go a Dan Atkinson if you want, or you could go a Nephi Peru. So neither of them might be a better option than what you have at the moment. You won't know till you do it. I just think it's not as clear-cut as it is in the Bulldogs situation. There are guys there really, really pushing to get into the first grade, whereas with the Sharks, I mean, Nephi's form's been really good this year and he's improved a lot in defence and that kind of thing. But is he screaming out to play first grade this week? I'm not sure. Dan Atkinson, we know what he's like. He's very clutch. But when it comes to set for set, I don't know if he's going to give you more than what we're getting from the other two. Now, let's not forget we're 4 out of 5 wins in the past 5 weeks. So we tend to lose and it tends to all melt down. Now, no excuses for last week. Should have won. It's costly. Penrith losing last night, which was, of course, fantastic to see. It doesn't necessarily guarantee us a better shot at 4th spot, but it doesn't hurt as well. So a good result there, but we've still got to keep winning. So I understand what you're asking. Do I want the coach to be more ruthless? Yeah, probably. But I think he needs some people there to bring in. Now, I can hear my friend Dan and a lot of the other fan base shouting at me saying, this guy. And you might be right, but certainly I wouldn't be doing more than one change if I could help it. You know, you don't want to bring in a whole stack of new guys in 1 week. But should the club be more ruthless? Yeah. I think in all occasions of anything in business, in sport, the ruthlessness definitely gets you ahead. And they can be hard decisions. And, you know, I'm not talking about necessarily ethically those kind of things, but when it comes to just who's the better player, who's better informed, then yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that, Steve. Thank you so much. Thanks to Jay, who sent in some cool grabs from the digital Big League magazine, which went back to 88, 89 and showed some cool images there. And he talks a little bit about those times, which is when I started following the team. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Not sure if he's tuning into this episode or not, but to our regular correspondent, Steve, and there's a million Steves out there, but he knows who he is. Congratulations on a personal note on the news that you sent me today, which I will not divulge, but just very personal news that is very positive, and a bit of a shout out for you, my friend. Paul has written in and said, what are your thoughts on club squad moving forward? Keen to see what you think of my ideas. We definitely need a roster revamp. I'd look at moving on Katoa, Hamlin-Welly, Kennedy, Ramian, McInnes. I'd also re-sign Stonestreet, Hohepa, and Jesse Colquhoun. Players I'd be chatting with would be Jaden Campbell and Sloan from the Dragons. I think we're ready for the emergence of Gabriel and McCulloch. So interesting ideas there from Paul, as always. Love to hear from you. Thank you for your continued support. On your ideas, this is who you'd be moving on. Katoa, Hamlin-Welly, Kennedy, Ramian, and McInnes. I've been thinking long and hard about this as you have. I'm keeping Cam McInnes. I'm keeping him for his experience, for his inspiration, and also, most importantly, for what he's doing on the field. I think he's still going pretty good on the field. I think he still contributes quite a lot. And it may not be flashy, but I still think he's got some time in him. It wouldn't be necessarily a long deal, obviously, but I would definitely myself be re-signing Cam McInnes. Sione Katoa, I could let go, but you want to make sure Stone Street is your guy. And that's all I'll say on that. If he's your guy, then bring him in for Katoa, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it because Sione is past his peak. I'm not saying he still can't be 10 out of 10, but he's past his peak. He is on some money, so it would free up some money. It'd be almost like a sacrifice. I don't necessarily want to see him go, but I could sacrifice him. Hamlin Welly, I would look to re-sign if we could get him for a good deal. Now, props are pretty valuable to a lot of clubs, no matter what you think of the prop. And even look at someone like Royce Hunt, who we love and adore. But Royce, you wouldn't say he's in the top whatever props. But you got a giant deal to go to the Tigers because they needed a prop. Clubs need props, and Hamlin Welly will be wanted. But if I could keep him for a smaller deal on a smaller number of years, then I would. I think there's enough in him. I think we've seen in the last few weeks he's still got a use. So I wouldn't be so keen to move him on. Will Kennedy, who most people who listen to the show know I really like, I think it is an okay time to move him on. The money he's on at the moment, he won't be getting again. They have offered him a smaller deal for a smaller amount of time, and he's pondering that himself now. But I think that Liam Eisen will be a suitable replacement. Whether he's completely ready round one and at his best, I can't tell you because of the recovery. But if that was the case, I do think we need backup there. So whether that's a Chevy Stewart, whether that is someone else who fights it out with Liam Eisen, I'd be more comfortable with that. But if there's no one else and it's just Liam Eisen, I would maybe keep that short-term deal for Will Kennedy, but I would make them have a proper shootout for the spot. I do think, though, that spine needs to be shaken up, and Will might be one of the victims there. Jesse Ramian, when his contract is up, I think I would allow him to look elsewhere for a bigger, better deal, because we do have a number of centres coming through, and by the time I think he's available to leave at the end of his contract, which I think is a year or two away, then they might be good to go, the centres. So I'd be open to that. And I still think Jesse's got good footy in him. You know, maybe a fresh change for him, fresh change for us. So that's who I would move or not move, etc. On re-signing, Stone Street, yeah, I'd re-sign Sam for sure. Hohepa, yes, and Jesse Colquhoun, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. Players you'd try to chat with, Jaden Campbell, 100%, and that changes things up in the fullback position as well. If we get Jaden Campbell, then there's no need to buy anyone else in that fullback kind of position, although Jaden Campbell, interestingly enough, is a pretty good half too, so that also opens up a little bit of debate there about halves. But yeah, I'd certainly talk to Jaden Campbell. Sloan, not so keen on. He's pretty fast, and fast is good, but as a footballer, I mean, he's done some really ridiculously great things, but I just see not enough football smarts in him to really be too interested. That's just my opinion. And you say we were ready for the emergence of Michael Gabriel and Sam McCulloch. I completely agree, but I do think they're a little bit further away than what you want to hear, Paul. I think Michael's probably closer. I know if something went down the next few weeks and it was his side of the field and he was fit and able to be picked, I think he would get selected. So he's close. But as far as week in, week out, yeah, you might want to wait a little bit on that. And same with Sam McCulloch. I think that he's got all the attributes. And there's a bunch of those guys in his age bracket that have it. And I think they will become genuine stars, hopefully for us. But I think that Sam McCulloch is a little bit away. You know, I don't think that he will necessarily play 27 games next year for us. He might play a couple, but he needs to bide his time. And I know you don't want to hear that, but it's a lot different competition, the NRL, to flag and even to cup. So he's trending nicely. I really like what he does. I love his story. That's where I'm at with that. Thanks so much, Paul, for being in touch. Really appreciate it. David wrote to us and said, the Sharks' winning streak over the Dragons is done. It had to happen at some point. The usual uproar of fans wanting to move players to remedy the situation is futile, as so many players were off their game. The answer is in the possession stats. No one likes to lose, but those fans that want a team with patience and resilience should maybe show a little themselves. Lastly, there was a moment from the Dragons' loss when Nico takes an intercept near the end of the game. I was impressed with his footy intelligence and the effort to make the play, but I found the running ability left a number of questions. He looked immediately to pass, and that is due to one of the following. A, he knows that he's lost his pace. B, he lacks self-belief. C, he's injured. They are all a concern. However, maybe this answers the weekly Dan Atkinson on the bench conundrum. Is Nico playing injured? Dum-da-dum-da. Thanks a lot for your work. Cheers, David. That's a great piece of correspondence. Thank you, David, for your praise and your input on what you have said. Look, I'm with you that we lose a game and the whole world ends and people want to change that world. And I'm like, well, let's just slow down a bit and see where it went wrong and how we can correct it rather than just different team every week. I do understand completely fans' reactions, though, and I'm not putting any shade on them. If you blow up about a certain performance and you want a whole bunch of changes, I understand it. It's just not realistic, I guess. But I definitely understand it. But you're right. The answer is in the possession stats. I think we had 10 less sets at least in the whole game. So you're not going to win footy that way. On to the Nico situation. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. What you stated, as in visually obvious, not what you've stated is obvious, but the incident was very obvious when he got the ball. It was like, oh, what's going to happen here? You say either he knows he's lost his pace, lacks self-belief, or he's injured. It could be any of those. I know he's always got a bit of a calf thing hanging around. I don't think it's lack of self-belief because he takes on the line quite a lot. He's not the quickest guy, we know that. And I think it's quite natural in a lot of ways if you are in that position to look left or right for your speedy offsider. So I wasn't super concerned with it, but it was definitely noticeable. And yes, maybe that is why Dan Atkinson is on the bench. There is a reason why he's there, and we shall see what happens with the bench moving forward this week. Thanks so much, David, for your time and your correspondence. Hope you're well. Thanks for your support. All right, so Titans are coming to town. Head-to-head, 28 games. We've won 18. They've won 9. We've drawn 1 in 2016. They broke the streak with an 18-all draw up there. Unforgettable. We've won 10 of the past 11 against them. The loss last year in Coffs Harbour was the one loss. Last time we played them in round 23 on the Gold Coast, we won 44-0. At Shark Stadium, we've won the past 2 and 8 of 12 against them. We are still chasing our 700th win. I say still because it didn't happen last week, but this will be our 1,418th game, and we're looking for our 700th win. Just over a 49% win record. We're looking to avoid a second straight loss for the 4th time this year. We have not lost more than 2 straight this season. I'll repeat that. We have not lost more than 2 straight games this season. I think that's pretty good. I know I would like to have more wins under our belt, but I don't mind that stat at all. It shows that we can bounce back. We're looking to win 5 straight at home. We last won 5 in the great season that was 2022. As far as penalties go, we are being awarded the most penalties per game, and we're conceding the second fewest ruck infringements. So discipline isn't that bad. It's just times when we do it. If we're leading at halftime, look for us to go on with it. We've won 10 of 11 this game when leading at halftime. We've lost 8 of 10 when level or trailing. We have conceded 24 tries from kicks, the equal most in the NRL, along with the Cowboys. He doesn't want us to talk about it, but Craig Fitzgibbon becomes the 4th coach to reach 100 games for the Sharks. John Lang, Shane Flanagan and Tommy Bishop have also done this. Nico Hines has the 2nd most line break assists behind only Scott Drinkwater. Blake Brayley and Cam McInnes make the most tackles in the NRL. Against the Titans, Mulatalo has scored 5 from 6. Only Valentine Holmes, the future, has scored more with 7. A little bit about the Titans. 3 of their 5 wins this year have been away from the Gold Coast. They've won at Allianz in New Zealand and Newcastle, so they don't mind winning on the road when they do win, which is not that often, to be fair. This one's interesting. Their past 4 and 5 of the past 6 have been decided by 8 points or less, so they don't mind a close game. They do concede a lot of points, though. They concede almost 29 points per game, which is a lot. So that's what's going on stat-wise, record-wise, history-wise with that fixture. Coming up now, you will hear from Craig Fitzgibbon. You will hear the press conference from this morning. Until we speak to you another time, we'll see you down at the game. Can't wait to be there. Wherever you watch it, wherever you listen to it, enjoy. Up Cronulla. Let's go.
Well, Craig, what did you take out of the review of the Dragons game?
Yeah, pretty simply put, I thought we addressed that post-game. Poor discipline. Like, you're not going to get out of a game against a side that played really well and held the ball at about 90%. We were at about 60. So the discipline to not get any footy or execute any footy was disappointing for us. So not overdo the fact that we didn't play well, but we've had 4 out of 5 now, and we've got to get back to business pretty quickly though.
So there's a bit of a pattern there, or do you feel like it's a one-off?
Previous to that, we've been holding the ball right. Probably going to attack very well against the South. Similar story. A bit clunky there, and if you don't apply any pressure by racking sets up, and the game is really stop-start, and based on us, like it was on us, not anyone else. So the discipline to put our footy on and play the way we want to play, and I don't think. And then by the end of the game, when we were chasing, you kind of lose your way. So it's hasn't been a pattern for too long, but it's the first loss in a number of weeks where we've played that way. Yeah.
Is it a quick fix?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, it's pretty easy to clear that up. Obviously, your energy takes a hit for that, and your clarity in the way you want to play when you keep dropping the ball and giving away penalties. So, fixing the mental side of that's the most important thing for us. We know the way we want to play, and we've shown parts of that, but I just put it all together pretty quickly. Yeah.
Jesse's done his thumb. How bad is he, and how's he holding up? Yeah,
just looking at about a month, I think. You never know with those. Sometimes they're a bit quicker and a bit longer. It's basically just healing time after having a plate put in. So it's looking like about a month, but probably, to be fair, Marwini was in the side earlier in the year and playing really well. So he's actually been playing fullback for the Jets and just like playing such good footy. And I think he showed what he was capable. He finished a couple of games playing on one leg for us earlier in the year. So he's got something about him, so he's a good addition.
And Nakora obviously suspended. What did you make of that?
Oh, look, that's the system. 3 weeks seems severe at this stage of the year, but that's the system of loading. So, if he hadn't had a couple of previous charges for different sorts of contact, but they term dangerous contact as dangerous contact. So when it's your third one, you pay a longer price. So, it's disappointing, but that's the system as well. So, it's a 1 week if he wasn't racking them up, but. Billy Burns is there. He's played for Brit in the weeks that Brit's missed as well. So once again, Billy's a real spirit guy for us, real energy guy, and it turns out when Bill's played in the back row, we've done all right too.
Titans this week. What do you make of them so far, and what are you expecting?
Yeah, they're really like that. That's a quality side, and obviously it's been disrupted throughout the course of the year, as every team does get. But they've shown a real fight and energy in the last few weeks. I think they obviously went to the wire last week, pushed Penrith to the wire, won in New Zealand. So there's a form line that's suggesting they'll be a handful. And we've got to make sure we're a handful for them and give them a tough arvo, because they do have good players. And Kieran Foran's nearing the end of the line, and he'll want to be performing well to finish his career as well.
Braithen Aston had a bit of a crack at you guys during the week. He mentioned he's a good mate of yours. Wondering, has he followed it up with you? Have you spoken to him about what he had to say or anything?
No, I didn't know. I don't want you to. I'm trying to just keep my head down and focus on working, but it's been made aware to me. But look, when you have a performance like last week, it's criticism's part of our jobs, and I don't take it personally at all, to be honest. I just feel like it's you have a performance like that, you're gonna get criticised for it. It's pretty straightforward, really. That's and part of my job is to absorb that, do that, and make decisions based on what I think is in the best interest of the club and the team, not what someone else tells me. So, but no, embrace like I do. If the shoe was on the other foot, I'd be interested to see how he'd handle it. But he's no, it's fine.
Will you bring it up with him next time you see him?
Oh, it's not that big a deal, mate. He's got a job to do. He's on a panel of a hot debate, and the job is to debate things, and they get heated on that, and they want to married to their opinion, and that's part of the job, and he's just doing his job, and I'm just doing mine. So there's no real reason to suck about it or carry on. I don't really have an issue with it, but just got to focus on the Sharks really. What's
the formula now? Obviously, every game's pretty much must win. Is it as simple as that, or you've been doing this job a while now? Do you know what it takes this time of year to get this team firing heading into finals?
Yeah, it's been look, you'd obviously like to be higher up the ladder. We've had a couple of close losses that would have put us up the ladder, but Penrith are now at 4th. They've had 12 wins and a draw. We've had 12 wins, so we're not that far off, and we're going to buy next week. So we've got to perform well. We're just simply put, the ladders and what other teams are doing are irrelevant to us, other than our performance. And last week's performance we need to improve on. So trying to keep it as simple as that at this stage. Yeah.
Feels this time of year, every year we talk about hosting a home final here at Shark Park. Any reason for you why it shouldn't be played here?
Not if you earn it. Why is it any different to any other club? I don't, obviously for enjoyment's sakes, fans' sakes, but it's our team and our fans, so I don't see why not.
SharkCast is supported by the best and most honest real estate agent in the Sutherland Shire, Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. He's an expert in the Caringbah region and has his eye all across the Shire. Lifelong Sharks fan and supporter of this podcast, if you're looking to buy or sell in the region, the person you need to be talking to is Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Call him on 0410 417 450. That's 0410 417 450. Jason Hawes, Cripps & Cripps Real Estate.
People back in the Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.